Fendi, like the bag. This is the I Refuse podcast.
We're back. It's Mr. Fox, the I Refuse podcast. I saw the Sukihana video, and she's growing on me, right? So, for those of y'all not in the know, Sukihana is currently or was previously in Europe, I believe Paris or London to be exact. And she's like walking to the car, as she's walking to the car with her friends, is saying, I need more pussy, right? My booty ate. I need my taste scratched. And I don't know if the white women, the white people around her were of don't matter because the look on their faces, they were traumatized. A lot of people were like, she's such a bird. Oh, you get to these countries and you don't know how to act. You can't just cut up in other countries and expect repercussions. Is Sukiyana a bird? Yes. Is she ratchet? Yes. All that aside, not only is she ignorant as hell, but she's also very hilarious. I know a lot of people out here are opening their eyes to international travel, the downsides to to doing it. How other countries are not as liberal politically or socially or culturally as others. Um, there was there is currently a girl imprisoned in Dubai right now for raising her voice. And let me tell you, for many years, a lot of people have been looking at Dubai as this glamorous place, as this place that just looks so rich. They have tall buildings that defy gravity and science. They watch the Mission Impossible movies and they think Dubai is the place to be. Bravo at one point, or probably still to this day, has the Real Housewives of Dubai, like in a way glamorizes the country. But don't be confused. Don't be fooled. Dubai is not where you want to be if you go there with this liberal U.S. attitude. They don't give you a to go box when you're done eating your food. They don't allow you to raise your voice. There are other things that go down in Dubai that that will get you arrested. Like some shit you just cannot do, and the list is pretty long. And it's not just Middle Eastern politics or Middle Eastern culture where the women have to stay covered. Dubai is not fucking with y'all. So you got to be careful out here, especially in 2023. I personally was not bothered by Sukihana. She's actually grown on me. When I first saw her on Love and Hip Hop, I was like, who is this girl with all these other random girls trying to start beef with the Queen of Miami, Trina? And I'm not going to forget when y'all said that girl, Sukihana, looked like Tracy Morgan in the face, but that's neither here nor there. At some point, she's starting to grow on me. Those of y'all that felt it distasteful that she was cutting up the way she was in the UK or Paris or wherever she was in Europe, she's really just playing into her image. Could be trolling y'all at this very point. But let's not forget that y'all went out for that girl in defense of that girl against YK Osiris or whatever. Very weird. But it's like at this point, you know what you're getting with Sukiyana. Like she's definitely going into her personality era. You know, Haven't heard her being signed to any record label. Haven't really seen any new music. Um, if anything, I'm like, she's probably making more money being a personality and being who she is wherever she goes versus going to shows and stuff like that, which is fine. I mean, there's already enough female rappers out here talking about getting their pussies stretched and their booty ate. And quiet as it's kept, you know, to stand out in female rap, you gotta be something different in the music, so to speak. So, I mean, if Sukihana wants to go over to the UK and piss off the white folks and leave them befuddled and aghast, just let her have her fun. I mean, it's not like she's on Diddy money. It's not like she is one of the city girls. Like, just let the girl live and travel as she looks like Tracy Morgan. Moving right along. You know, I was minding my African American business recently, and down on the timeline on the Bird app, which we frequent here at the I Refuse podcast, the timeline was in shambles the last 24, 48 hours since our last video about a TikTok. I'm going to call it TikTok because it turned out the shit wasn't real. Of a man having a meltdown at the group dinner because they're trying to split a bill over $4,000, and this man is like, I only had salad, water, and some bread. Why y'all looking at me to pay for y'all steak and lobster? Now, regardless whether or not the thing was fake, you know, a lot of people are saying that the video was fake, it was staged. I personally am done with doing group dinners, like group restaurant outing stuff that is not family. You know what I mean? The last family dinner we had was at Fogo. And the great thing about Fogo de Chao is that it's the same price no matter how much you get. But God forbid that we go to Applebee's, we go to Chili's, we even go to Longhorn Steakhouse, and you know you came to the restaurant with a certain amount of money. You knew how many people were going to be there, and you decide with 220s that you're going to do a 3-course meal, and then when the bill comes, you want to get selective amnesia, turn into a mathematician, and look to the rest of us to pay for your shit. Absolutely not. What did Deborah Cox say? Absolutely not. And the thing that I want people to learn or to know from Mr. Fox, myself here at the I Refuse podcast, is that when it comes to responsibility, the people that do the disrespectful shit are just as responsible as the people that allow it. Like, first time, shame on you. Second time, shame on me. So, in the video, these girls who look like they don't give a goddamn about anybody but themselves are going back and forth with this dude. And, you know, I don't want to profile people, but if it sounds like a duck or walks like a duck, it's a goddamn duck. Y'all dress real nice. Y'all order the most expensive shit. And I feel like they will probably do this everywhere they go. And they do that with every group outing, restaurant, club, bar, whatever. It's like, if you can't afford to tip, don't come out. Saw somebody in the comment section yesterday on the Bird app that was like, that's why every time I go out, I whisper in the waiter's ear when I sit down. I'm like, look, I will tip you better if you separate my bill from everybody else's. And quiet as kept, I think the more you push, even if they say they can't, they'll eventually budge. Because there is no restaurant, especially a restaurant that uses Square, that can't separate the bill. And if they tell you that they can't, you probably look like you can't tip or you don't tip. So moving forward, my black ass is going to start doing that from now on. If it's not with family. Because there's just a certain standard and a certain expectation that goes without saying when you're with people that know how to act, know what to expect and what the standard is going into a group outing, restaurant, bar, club, and to the point to where you're like the one person or the couple of people that are with the group that turn into mathematicians will no longer be invited to other shit. Or if they are, I just won't come. It's just what it is. I looked at the video and I was like, God damn. How many people were at this? How many people were at this outing for it to be over $4,000? And what restaurant should I go to? See, that's why some of these restaurants, these high end restaurants, don't be inside the Beltway. Because y'all just cut the fuck up, cause a scene. On the I Refuse podcast, we talked about people twerking at brunch. Like, can you have a little bit of respectability? And I'm not all the way into respectability politics, but it's like nobody wants your butt twerking over their waffles. You know what I mean? Nobody wants, like, every venue doesn't have to be a reality show or a reality moment. You know, last video, the video before that, I said something about how we've gotten so corny to where we get performative. Like, it's gotten to a point right now, if you haven't been paying attention, to where every event, venue, space, they just want to turn into a nightclub. Like, you don't have to do the Dougie at the gallery. You don't have to twerk at the supermarket. You don't have to blare, tear the club up down at the swimming hole. Like, just a bunch of noise and a bunch of nonsense. Call me old, but goddamn, this is the kind of shit that make you want to stay in the house because y'all tearing shit up and kind of make it hard for like well-meaning businesses to survive. Like not too long ago, we talked about in the I Refuse podcast how y'all were giving Moneybag Yo a problem because of the prices in his restaurant that he started up in his hometown. It's like at some point you just gotta graduate from TV dinners and processed food and really get into like why is a tomahawk steak so much money? Which at his restaurant wasn't that bad compared to if you go to Vegas, a destination y'all go to every year. But, you know, you can only do but so much of what you have, right? I guess. So, if anybody knows the details, whether the video was fake or not, as to the name of the restaurant these people went to where the bill totaled over $4,000, how many people were there, Because I'm sure they got enough attention arguing back and forth about the bill. Whether it was fake or not, my takeaway is this: you really got to know your company and know who you have all up in your space, so you can avoid shit like that. Like I've had less than probably three instances or three group outings with friends, and they were trying to split everything evenly, and I'm like, why are you trying to split everything evenly if we all didn't order the same thing? That's how shit get fucked up. I bring enough money to cover my shit, and I go to the table knowing what I have in my pocket. Cover my shit, my entree, my dessert, and the tip. Like just because you may feel the need for any kind of drama doesn't mean you got everybody else has to escalate it. Like I just can't. I just can't. It's already hot out here, and y'all making shit complicated. Before I get up out of here, there are a lot of people. I see a lot of y'all are still cutting up at the Beyonce concert. See a lot of y'all are complaining about the set list. Um, Me personally, people fighting at Beyonce's concerts or the night of or right after. That when you go to a Beyonce concert, whether it's in the venue, outside the venue, or you're leaving the parking lot, there's guaranteed to be some fight of some kind. Case in point, went to On the Run, the first tour. One of the stops was in Baltimore at the PSI Stadium. That thing has changed names. Had a great time. Was in the nosebleeds. Got to see two acts I'm a fan of, Jay Z and Beyonce. Leave the venue. Make it to the car just fine. Time to leave. Everybody decides they want to go in one particular direction, which is through Canton. In the car, in a line trying to leave the parking lot, two or so cars behind me. There is a lady with I think a girlfriend trying to square up with people in another car. Like she's outside the car door, both fists like is she about to swing on this car? What's going on? And it's like, what is this about? Because y'all are in the back of the line, long line of cars, not going anywhere. I guess she was mad that the lady got in front of her in a long line of cars trying to leave the parking lot. Mind you, nobody can leave because there's all this traffic trying to go down a narrow Baltimore side street. But here in the rearview mirror of my car, you see a woman barefoot trying to square with somebody that's seated inside their car. And I'm thinking to myself, did Beyonce serve alcohol? Did they serve alcohol in the box seats if people could afford them? And mind you, like the fashion choices that you see at Beyonce's concerts, it was they really tried at On the Run, the first tour. And at the Baltimore stop, it was just like y'all are literally out here trying to pass off men's boxers as fashionable quality to Beyonce standards. Out in public, y'all are wearing Hanes undergarments. But that's not where I want to leave things before I get up out of here. There was a guy on TikTok. I didn't catch his name. Clearly, he was vying to be the main character on social media, who was dogging Beyonce's concert, I guess, in his city. I think it was Philly. Dogging the set list. Like, why did she start off with all these ballads? And why did she include Dangerously in Love, the song? It's so niche. And why did she, where's the opening act? He claimed that she, Beyonce, was almost 3 hours late. That's like lie number six, seven, eight, and nine. Because if there's anything we know about Beyonce, is that she starts on time. Anything I know about being a Virgo, we are prompt. We don't do any like extra razzle dazzle leading into stuff. We're in and we're out. So I know he was lying. And here's the thing. You're talking about an artist that has been a major artist almost 30 years. And when you have almost 30 years of material, you could literally do any kind of set list. And I think she wanted to do some of her older stuff first, just to kind of remind you. And then on top of that, he wanted to complain about how some of the songs were short and the sequencing and the mixes. Beyonce knows what she's doing. And mind you, the segue from, I believe it was Cuff It or Energy, into Get Me Bodied or one of the other B-Day tracks, genius. But a lot of people who are caught up in the Renaissance experience, which is great, are not, or probably didn't catch on to it. Like, you're talking about a woman with 6 or 7 studio albums, 2 or 3 soundtracks, a couple of live albums, just as a solo artist. And I think the takeaway from this guy is that it's definitely a generational thing because this is the same guy that came out later on or was exposed later on as someone trying to pass off being 25 when he clearly looked like he was pushing 40. See, here's the thing. When you're vying to be a main character, and then on top of that, on the back of Beyonce, you cannot, in the next breath, try to fool us with your thinning hairline. Because it looks like it's karma for talking mess about Beyonce. And I didn't even talk about the vocal fry, which that's like knives to a chalkboard. But this is what you get. Like, just say you came just for the Renaissance album, which is probably one of her strongest albums. But the thing about it is, like, you can't just come up here and just talk about the present without acknowledging the past. Like, there are a lot of diehard fans that go up for her fourth album. Like, you cannot be Beyonce and not do I Care. You cannot be Beyonce and not do 1+1. I miss you if you ever feel so obliged. But that's the thing, like Beyonce not only has hits, but she also has deep cuts that stick. But you white people with your vocal fry, get up here and just say anything all willy nilly. On the same TikTok account that y'all would get up on and try to convince us that you're 25. Meanwhile, you out here looking like the Three Stooges, and you think that little crop top is gonna cover that up? No, ain't no way. Like at some point, when you know, and you've known for a couple years that your hair is thinning, you should probably just cut it all off and keep it bald. especially if you're going to come up on here and disrespect Beyonce. None of us want to hear it. Everybody else out here is having a good time. Nobody wants to hear you complain about the set list. And to anybody that is complaining about stiff movements, lack of engagement, or lack of stage presence from Beyonce, gotta understand she's been doing this at a particular standard for almost 30 years. And even on what's perceived as a lackluster day, is still miles ahead of anybody else that's doing it at this current moment. Can't say that for a lot of people. But, there's always somebody that's going to be ungrateful and complain. Like, I haven't seen anything worth the ticket price that she was asking. Take that up with Ticketmaster. I haven't seen anything that makes you want to look. You could have went all day without saying that. I know there's definitely going to be some kind of Netflix special or an HBO Max kind of thing coming out of this, but y'all gotta relax. Y'all just cool it. It's hot as hell out here. Y'all done put on y'all good clothes. Y'all done designed some nice outfits, but y'all out here fighting in areas of the venue where there's more than enough space to move around. And it's like y'all fucking up the ambiance. Never a good time at any time to try to be the main character. I really want white people to mind black people's business. I really want white people to just shut up and enjoy themselves. And I really want y'all to dial it back on being performative. Because it's not cute. Vying to be the main character, not a good look. It's Mr. Fox, the I Refuse podcast. Be sure to follow and subscribe wherever you see the I Refuse podcast. We're on Twitter at I Refuse Podcast, Instagram at I Refuse Podcast, underscore between the words. We're on 8 streaming platforms. We have the YouTube channel, which you're listening to and looking at right now. Be sure to follow and subscribe to YouTube channel. Show a lot of love on the Twitter. The link to everything, every platform to which the I Refuse podcast is available is on the Twitter account and the IG. And I believe it's on the YouTube. So, y'all stay cool. Y'all take it easy. Peace.